Nigeria's state-owned oil company, NNPC Limited, has started drilling for oil and gas at a field in northern Nigeria that has reserves of 1 billion barrels. NNPC says the first phase of the Kolmani project will have an oil refinery, gas processing unit, 300 megawatt power plant, and fertilizer plant producing 2,500 tons a day. It comes as the country seeks to produce crude outside the Niger Delta for the first time. NNPC Limited first announced the discovery of crude oil, gas and condensate in commercial quantity in the Kolmani area between Bauchi and Gombe states in 2019. President Muhammadu Buhari says his administration attracted over $3 billion in investments in the oil and gas sector at a time of near zero appetite for investment in fossil energy.
This discovery has enabled the understanding of the frontier basins in the reef system from Nigeria with potentials for further large-scale finds. Our teams are currently engaged in several exploratory activities and have commenced re-entry into the Chad Basin with the recent assurance of a clement security situation. No doubt, the establishment of a refinery, fertilizer plant, power plant, and associated upstream oil and gas processing facilities will translate to greater energy security for our country, enable economic growth, provide thousands of jobs, and other opportunities that will invariably deliver revenues to the Federation.
The successful discovery of the Kolmani oil and gas field by NNPC and her partners has finally broken the jinx record by confirmation of a huge commercial deposit of hydrocarbons in Kolmani River field. This discovery had emanated from our charge to NNPC to re-strategize and expand its oil and gas exploration footprints to the frontier basins of Anambra, Dahomey, Sokoto, Benue Trau, Chad, and Bida basins.
As President Muhammadu Buhari, they're commissioning the Kolmani oil fields in Gombe and Bauchi states.
The Gongola Basin.
Yeah, the Gongola Basin, absolutely. Well, Temilola George is a petroleum geologist and a member of the African Association of Petroleum Explorationists, and she joins us now from Congo, Brazzaville. And also joining us now is Ibrahim Waziri, who is a managing partner, Gulf of Guinea Petroleum Consulting, and former group executive director of the Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation. Very warm welcome to Newsnight, and I would like to start with you, Temilola George. This is another boost, in adding to Nigeria's proven reserves of 36 billion barrels of crudes that we have. How significant is this new find, particularly when the IOCs, the international oil companies, are fanning out from onshore to offshore?
Yes, thank you so much for having me. Hello, can you hear me?
Well, yes, go on, please. Go ahead, we can hear you.
Yes, thank you so much for having me. This is a good news for Nigeria at this time, making this economic discovery in the northern part of the country. To a large extent, I think it's going to help the unity of Nigeria. Apart from increase in revenue, it's going to stabilize the sense of economic contribution from the northern geopolitical zones. It's also going to create employment opportunity for the locals. It's going to develop the local content initiative of the federal government. And despite the fact that the IOCs are moving away from the land regions of Nigeria, I would like to say that fossil fuel will continue to remain relevant. What we need to do is to reduce emission. Oil will continue to be relevant, and the important thing now is that the local players are coming on board, independent players are coming on board, and our resources will never remain stranded. We'll continue to use them to industrialize and to develop our regions. This is a laudable one. And for a discovery of over 1 billion barrels of oil, it's a laudable one. And I want to say congratulations to our member country, Nigeria, and the NNPC and the NDDC.
All right, that's good to know from Temilola there. Let's move to Ibrahim Waziri, former Group Executive Director of the NNPC. I would like to get your thoughts, because critics are saying, or they're concerned, that this exploration is not necessarily transparent. As far as they're concerned, it is shrouded in a level of secrecy that does not meet global best practice. And they're questioning, how exactly did the NNPC and the partners, get to the 1 billion reserve that they've come up with and all of that? I wonder what you have to say about that. And what exactly really does this mean for the Nigerian economy? Waziri?
Yeah.
Waziri, if you heard my question.
Yeah,
okay,
I
that
heard a bit of it. The last part of it, the last part of it was a bit muted, so I didn't hear it. But in any case, I think the important questions you raise, if I get you right, the transparency of it, the hello?
Let's
go ahead, Mr. Waziri. Go ahead, please.
Right. So I think first we should not underestimate the significance of this particular event, and it's been long in the making. This did not start just yesterday. It's something that has been built upon. The frontier exploration has been a cardinal objective of successive administration in this country. And the Benue Trout, particularly in the northeast, holds a lot of promise. We were there in the Chad Basin, and even this Colmari, we have been there before. This is not the first time we are there. Other oil companies the international oil companies were also there. So this discovery was actually there. Some gas was discovered in that locality for some time. However, with advancing technology and with more determination and more search for oil, we are able to arrive to where we are today, and we must give credit to where it is due. The current administration has done well by persisting in it. The management of NNPC have done well. It's building on what has already been started. And getting oil, as you would very well know, is not a one-day affair. If you recall the one we had at Oloibiri, it's been in the making way before Nigeria's, before the first discovery in 1958. And that is the nature of the thing. As technology advances, more basins will be discovered and more production will be made. Obviously, it comes with a lot of challenges, being an inland basin itself, so you have to evacuate in situ, utilize the products there and then, a refinery there, which is all part of the package that NNPC has. And the fines there, from what we all know in the public domain, 1 billion barrels is not small. It's not small by any measure, and that is just what has been proven. And this data is very transparent, and I believe in time to come, those who are interested in engaging further with NNPC will have a chance to satisfy themselves. And this is for real, really. It is for real. I for one, I've been in the industry for close to 40 years. This one is for real. We've been on this project for so long. The promises have been there. So really, I believe it's a big deal.
Find out from you exactly what you think it means for the economy. Great expectations. But what do you think are the immediate benefits, to Nigeria, or will be the immediate benefits?
Energy security. Energy security, you are enhancing your energy security, diversification of your portfolio, apart from the employment that it will also generate in an area that is ridden by a lot of insecurity. petroleum generally has a lot of multiplier effect on the economy. From fertilizer, from pharmaceuticals, from electricity, refining itself of several slate of products. So it is significant impact on the economy. Revenue-wise, it will generate a lot of more revenue. And still we are in a transition period, transition between the renewable energies and the hydrocarbon energy. So we are still there, and a lot of the reserves there. I understand also gas, significant gas, which is a clean fuel, is also part of the discoveries in that field. But it is just, from what I understand, just a tip of the iceberg. A lot more we expect to hear from NNPC in the coming days as we get more information. However, I believe this is significant for this country.
Yes, very significant indeed. Let me come to you, Temilola George, who is in Brazzaville and a geologist. Let's look at the infrastructural development first of the new oil fields there, particularly when you talk of pipelines, piping it. We only have the Abuja, Kaduna, Kano gas pipeline up to Kano, which is in the northwest, and this discovery is in the northeast. What kind of arrangement should be in place to accelerate, the development of these fields and new fields that still, stride as far as the Gongola Basin to maybe Taraba, the Lake Chad area, and what have you?
Yes, thank you for your question. The project is an integrated project, meaning that the resources, we have a refinery, and NNPC announced that they are planning a refinery that has a capacity of 120,000 barrels per day. It's going to have a gas processing plant, a petrochemical plant, and gas plant. And also, I think the resources is to serve the need of Nigerian as a country. And it's going to take away the burden of laying oil and product gas pipeline. And even if later in the future, the plan on exporting the resources, it will be very easy to connect it to facility because of the ongoing pipeline project across the northern part of the country towards Algeria. So, like I said, it's integrated, it's a laudable one. And on behalf of my principal, the Secretary General of African Petroleum Producers Organization, that's Dr. Omar Farouk Ibrahim, we want to congratulate member country Nigeria. Nigeria is part of Apple. We want to congratulate them on this laudable project.
Yes.
Hello?
Yes.
Go
ahead,
with you?
Please.
Go on.
Yeah, so the project is integrated, is well planned. They've taken out the burden of laying high cost of pipeline of oil and gas products. It's going to have a refinery. It's going to have a petrochemical plant. It's going to have a gas plant with a processing capacity of 500 billion standard cubic feet. So I think, like I said, it's integrated. It's all in all. It's going to serve the community, and it's going to serve Nigeria as a country.
Mr. Waziri, what do you say to critics who question the use of state funds to carry out this exploration? I wonder what your response would be to them. And then again, is this an oil prospecting or is it oil mining? Exactly what stage are we at on this Komari discovery? All right, it looks like Mr. Waziri did not hear me. The question that critics are raising, why use state funds to carry out this exploration? We hear it's been on for about 30 years. It was abandoned, of course, by IOCs, and then President Muhammadu Buhari, gave the marching orders to NNPC to go ahead since 2016, but at some cost to the state. And critics are questioning the rationale behind using state funds to, do exploration?
Yeah.
Yes, go on, please, Mr. Waziri.
Yeah, okay, right. I heard you said about using state funds to do exploration. One, it is de-risking it. You need a lot of sovereign de-risking. It's not unusual. It is actually part of development entails using sovereign de-risking of projects. Once you try to build railways, try and see how many people will come there. That does not mean that that railway is not viable or is not good. Try building our first refinery, our first investment in the oil sector was all by state. So it's nothing unusual. And obviously, in a far more prolific fields in the Niger Delta, for example, it's cheaper to produce, obviously. So the cost per unit of crude that you produce there, per barrel that you produce there, will be cheaper than the one you have in the north, for example, or the northeast or Kolmani, if you put it. Obviously, where will you put your money if you are going to get more profit putting it in a very prolific field? So it is de-risking. It doesn't mean that there is no viable project there at all. Perhaps the return will not be as attractive to the private investor. Therefore, the state has to come in. And the role of the state in the economy is far and wide, and it's not a simplistic issue of why are you using state money to do that. You use state money, this is exactly what state money is for, really, is to de-risk. In a place where you feel it's necessary to do it, you get in there. You encourage people to come in there. You give all sorts of incentives, from tax waivers, from pioneer status. All these are all part of elements of de-risking of any project. And we're having it all over in manufacturing. We are having it in cement. We are having it in sugar. We are having it in all commodities. Even petrol today, you are in it. So that is not the concern at all. You shouldn't worry any person, really. Let's look at the profitability of this. Let's look at
is the second real? Leg of that my question very quickly. Is it OPL or is it OML? Exactly at what stage are we right now with the Kolmari discovery? Is it a prospecting, move, or is it actually mining?
Or development,
right,
as they say in the oil industry.
Exactly.
Yeah. At this stage where they are starting to produce, and production will start shortly, so I believe it is mining now. There's converted from prospecting, so they have passed a stage of prospecting on that particular OML. But remember, there are many OMLs in that locality. Some have reached that stage of production, which is where it's being commissioned today. So I assume in the next 1 year or two, from what information I could gather, they could produce ramp it up to 50,000 barrels per day, which is significant by any standard. Once they are able to put the financing completed, and so that is the state that it is. Some of the OMLs we have in the Niger, in the Chad Basin, and part of, they are still prospecting. So the long and short to your answer to your question to your answer is that yes, we are doing both.
All right, thank you. Let's go back to Brazzaville, where Temilola is there. Temilola, now let's look at environmental impact assessments. The issue of environment in the oil industry has become very critical, particularly countries wanting to move away from the use of fossil fuel and the rest to, less emitting clean energy and the rest. How much impact will this be having in the northern region, where we know that the issue of desertification, deforestation and the rest have, impacted greatly on the communities in that northern part of Nigeria? And already we are seeing a gas flare from the Kolmani oil fields. What is APO, your association, doing to mitigate such situation?
Thank you so much, one of our strategic objectives is environment. And the issue of environment has been on for so long. It's not a new thing around us today. The environmentalists has always been, they've been there to criticize fossil fuel, to demonize fossil fuel. What we need to do is to continue to develop technologies that will make us to explore, to decarbonize. And the good thing is the northern region of the country is known to house a lot of forest, and where this will stand as decarbonization means for the environment. And aside that, we are coming up with a lot of strategies, a lot of technology to see how we can continue to decarbonize. And we are always telling people that care to listen to us that all form of energy should be embraced without discrimination. Africa currently today, we have high rate of energy poverty, when we have over 900 million people living without access to modern cooking energy. We have 600 million people living without access to electricity. So what we need to do now is to develop our resources and use it to industrialize. The issue of environment will always be around. The issue of environment is a subject that we'll continue to deal with. But as we continue to develop our field, alongside, we are developing technologies that will help us to decarbonize. And I would also like to tell you that we are negative. We are in negative emission right now. We are not contributing to the global emission. Africa, we are in negative part. So the issue of emission, carbon emission, is not something we should take as a subject of priority. Rather, we should look at a way of helping our people to overcome energy poverty. Thank you.
All right, very quickly, Mr. Waziri, let me ask you the same question. How do we avoid the pitfalls of the Niger Delta, the degradation and the damage to the environment? What lessons?
Yeah, thank you very much. The issue, yeah, okay. So to avoid the pitfalls of the Niger Delta, if I got you right, sorry, it's a bit of delayed relay here, but I think that's what saying. First, I think let's not hype this thing too much. Let's temper our expectations. Let us come down to us and let's calm down a bit. Finding oil is not a new thing, but it's also not something that send you into euphoria and you think you start spending even before the money is made. It's a long journey. It's a capital intensive thing, and finding oil per se, also the communities should not start jumping up and down and thinking that, that there we are, there we go. No, this thing takes time, and the lesson we should also learn from the past is that let's not abandon our focus on our primary economic activities, be it agriculture, be it manufacturing, be it whatever value addition you can do. Let's not just fold our arms and say we've discovered oil, therefore we just go and spend it. That is the first thing that we should look at. Secondly, we also think we can do a better job in terms of engagement of our community, ESG, that's sustainable environmental and governance processes around the oil sector itself. Then in terms of accountability and transparency, the question that you started with, many times you find that lack of information leads to suspicion, and somebody will think that there is a black box somewhere, whereas really there is nothing more than the reality. So the expectation has to be tempered, the exploration has to be done. Environment now has become a very big issue, which it wasn't in the previous outings when we started in the 50s, 60s. You can see how much the Ogoni land environmental havoc that it has caused in those localities. We don't want that to happen in the northeast or anywhere else for that matter.
Absolutely.
While we are cleaning
so
up
much.
the past, yeah, thank
we'll
you.
have to leave it there. So grateful to you, Temilola George, petroleum geologist. Thank you so much for joining us. And Ibrahim Waziri, former Group Executive Director, NNPC. Thank you both of you for joining us on Newsnight.